Good to see you.
So it's, good morning, everyone. It's really challenging for me to be here and not just throw away my notes and talk as a minister and just talk to you about my knowledge and my interest in space. Those of you who actually know me, I'm very keen about this subject, and I'll get more into that in a second. But before I begin, I do want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. But before I was Minister of Emergency Preparedness, I spent 6 years as Minister of Defense, where I really got a much more deeper appreciation for the work that we do in space, and on the technology side, but more also on the policy side. And I just want to bring you back to that time where we had to make a policy change in our own Canadian space policy, and which we incorporated into our defense policy that allowed us greater access in the U.S. and to be part of a much wider conversation. But even still, there's a lot more conversation that we still need to have around the world, because the opportunities that we have in space, we do need to try to keep it peaceful as possible. But sadly, as we know, there are nations who are still creating it difficult for us to take advantage of something that I say is it belongs to all of us, and it's an absolute tragedy if we somehow ruin this opportunity. I think there's going to be so many advances that's going to come that's going to benefit us as humans on this one planet, that we can't squander that away. And I just want to say, Lisa, thank you for your leadership. Great to work with you again. Thank you for all the work that you've done as well, and your colleagues who have also worked at Emergency Preparedness. And for Jeremy, where are you? Oh, there you are. Jeremy, thank you for your leadership. I mean, you get this a lot, but I'm going to actually give you a little bit of challenge, okay? I know you're going, your project for the moon, but I was watching Space 1999. Who knows that, Space 1999? Okay, so when I was a kid, I thought we were going to be on the moon, working on the moon in 1999, okay? Anybody with gray hair knows this, okay? And so we got some time to catch up, all right? So I thank you for your leadership on this. But I just can't. You have no idea how much of an impact that you have on kids. I think you probably know just a percentage of it, and my kids are no exception to this. My son follows you immensely, and I'll be honest with you, it's going to be their generation and the generations below them who are going to really see the potential of the work that all of you are doing right now. And I think that's the real critical piece. As we think about what we've actually accomplished, we're really just getting started. But the people who are going to benefit are children and generations below. So there's a lot that needs to be done. So, as you know, space technology is a critical part of our everyday work, especially in my portfolio of emergency preparedness. And without it, my department and many other federal departments will be challenged to fulfill our mandate. At Public Safety Canada, we owe a great deal to satellite technology. A critical one, for example, is the SARSAT program and the satellite-based distress alerting system that I use quite regularly in BC when I go hiking. It is composed of over 70 satellites, as you know, 3 different orbiting altitudes covering 45 participating countries and organizations. And it's an integral part of the Canada Search and Rescue system, and is critical for a country like ours with vast geography and comprising over 200,000 kilometers of coastlines, 3 oceans, and 3 million lakes. And just last spring, it was thanks to this system that the Joint Rescue Coordination Center in Halifax was able to locate and source of an alert in Newfoundland and successfully rescued a solo helicopter pilot who had crashed in a lake. And they may not know the system that's there, but they are very grateful when the rescue does take place. Now, globally last year, the system rescued more than 3,000 people, assisted in over 1,000 search and rescue events, and since the system's inception in 1982, over 63,000 people have been rescued in almost 20,000 search and rescue events. To say this kind of technology is life-changing is just not hyperbole. In fact, it is life-sustaining. It is in good company with several other space-based innovations that my federal colleagues and I rely on to keep Canadians safe. So let me also talk about our world's first dedicated satellite system for wildfire monitoring called WildfireSat. WildfireSat is a Canadian initiative that will consist of satellites with infrared sensors that will measure the fire radiant power emitted by wildfires. This data will inform us of how intense a fire is and how quickly it is spreading, allowing us to make informed decisions, including which fires to prioritize and areas to evacuate. And I can't tell you much how important this work actually is, especially with some of the weather patterns that have been changing over the last few years. It also provides more precise information on air quality, pollution from smoke, helping to reduce health problems. Now, space technology is a crucial way to obtain the complete data that we need. So we see it with RadarSat and the imagery that it provides to support emergency response teams across the country. And ultimately, the technology of WildfireSat will save lives, prevent property damage, save natural habitat, and help us to better understand the fire behavior, particularly in the face of climate change. And even better, the development of WildfireSat will solidify Canada as a world leader in wildfire management. And we also have the space sector to thank for keeping us safe from countless other dangers. Now, satellites help predict weather patterns and hurricane paths, giving us time to prepare and evacuate. Satellite imagery can show us the hardest hit regions after a major disaster, so resources and rescue teams can be deployed accordingly to save lives. And the same shock absorption technology used for space aircraft is now used to improve building and bridge earthquake resistance. Firefighters' heat-resistant suits are made of the same polymer textiles adopted from those used by astronauts. So there are so many benefits from the advancements in space technology. And it is clear that space plays a very big role in our economy in driving an innovation of creating new jobs. Now, many of these are highly innovative STEM jobs, as Canada is particularly strong in satellite communication, space systems, manufacturing, including robotics, Earth observation sensors, and data systems. That some may not realize, and the vast majority of these contributions contribute to our economy are thanks to small and medium businesses. In fact, 93% of the Canadian space companies fall under this category. And in Budget 2024, we recognize the importance of the space sector to Canada and the many federal departments that rely on space services, the infrastructure, and especially the data, with the creation of the new National Space Council. And this initiative will bring together several federal government departments and agencies, including my Department of Public Safety Canada, to support space exploration, technology development, research, and security. Now, stakeholders from across the space sector will also be invited to engage and share their challenges and opportunities. In the coming months, the industry, academia, and other stakeholders will be asked to help shape the new council. Now, brilliant minds in this country are hard at work proving the immense value and the benefits of space every single day. You and the innovators like you are developing truly genius solutions in all areas, from harnessing space-based data to designing greener technology. Canada has been proudly investing in our expertise over the years through the Canadian Space Agency's programs like, as you very well know, the Smart Earth, the Space Technology Development Program, and the flights and field work for the advancement of science and technology. Now, we continue to offer the space industry opportunity to grow and prove their abilities, and we'll keep moving in that direction. So this is why today I'm also announcing an investment of $15 million to spur innovation through research and development in space, in the space sector. So 16 Canadian companies will receive funding to develop a new generation of space technologies. 22 projects are expected to drive progress in the areas of imaging technology, satellite navigation, Earth observation, lunar explorations are just only to name a few. Now, 80% of these projects will be led by small and medium-sized enterprises, some of whom will be working with the Canadian Space Agency for the very first time. Their technologies include groundbreaking innovations that could leverage Canada's long-standing expertise in the field of rover technology. And as you well know, Canada is currently developing the Lunar Rover program set to explore the south pole of the moon. And this rover will help the international search for water ice, a key component needed for the future of human space exploration. Now, in parallel, we're also developing a multi-purpose lunar utility rover as part of the Artemis program, as you very well know. And this is yet another significant CSA contribution to support the exploration of the moon. And today's investments clearly demonstrate our government's unwavering commitment to the space sector. Now, since 2008, $200 million have been invested in the development of more than 300 emerging space-related technologies. Now, which is also through the CSA's Space Technology Development Program. Now, I'm going to be very clear on this. I personally believe, and our government believes, that we need to continue to invest in our space technology. When I was Minister of Defense, even though I had an interest in space, I had a lot to learn. When I visited other countries, I realized how interested people were in some of our satellite technology, and realized the immense the opportunities that we have. But we need to invest in these programs. We need to invest in all of you to making sure that we stay at the cutting edge, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And we need to make sure that our investments are going to be remaining in Canada, creating these good quality jobs, because if we inspire the younger generation, right, the last thing we want them to do is keep going south. And what's always been a tragedy for me when I was younger is the Avro-Aero program, when so many just amazing scientists, innovators just left to other companies. And when we have this advantage, what we need to do right now is how do we take things to the next level? And now, I just want to take an opportunity to thank Brian. Brian, where are you? Oh, there you are. Yeah, for his leadership on really making sure that Canadians across the country really do understand and appreciate the importance of space. But the thing is just like myself, I think I know anything about space. I realize I don't. And just to kind of give you a small but micro example of this, what Jeremy's inspiration and the work that all of you are doing, he's 13 years old now. Yes, he's in the Air Cadets. But when he was about 3 years younger, he talked about that he wanted to be a pilot, but he wants to be a pilot so he can become an aeronautical engineer, and he wants to design engines. And the thing is you look at these kids, and you as a parent, you just want to encourage them. But then you realize later on, and you look, some of the people who are actually in this industry, they were kids at one time. If we keep saying these words and inspire them, and then they graduate, and they don't have an opportunity to really to be innovative, then we have just lost out. So it's an opportunity for all of us. And the reason I say this is kids get very serious, and with the internet these days, they can learn a lot more. He was talking to me about plasma engines. He goes, and I had no idea that. He goes, yeah, Dad, plasma engines work in space because of the zero gravity. The batteries can work there, but if the batteries are too heavy here on Earth, otherwise, if they did work, plasma engines would be far more beneficial, right? But he went to that extent. And the thing is, my son is just one small example of all those kids that are out there. So it's an opportunity for all of us. How do we get and be a leader in the space technology? I want to thank all the companies who are in Canada who are actually doing this amazing work, especially the panelists that was here today. But it's an opportunity for all of us. We can't be just looking at government. Yes, we're going to do our part, but it's also up to all of you. That the kids, as I said earlier, who are 5 and 6 years old today, or the generations below, the work that you do is going to benefit them. So I just want to say thank you to all of you who have endured the hardship and making sure that we stay at the cutting edge. Yes, in emergency preparedness, you are absolutely saving lives, but we don't even know the type of technology that's going to be developed that's going to benefit the rest of the world. So my pledge to all of you is to keep up the great work, and just also thank you for the amazing work that you have done to get us to this point. Thank you so much.
Merci énormément, Monsieur le Ministre. A big thank you for being here today. And I can attest to the fact that every time that I've ever reached out, every time that I've ever seen him engage on space, he is genuinely interested. He is somebody that is curious, intellectually curious about space. He has held important portfolios, including what he's up to now that can have an impact on space, and space can help him with his work. So he, I can tell you, is very engaged, and it's very nice of him to come. So let's please give him a big round of applause again. All right, so a few quick logistical notes. I kind of skipped over this morning because we had a lot going on, so I'm just going to do this very quickly. Number one, museum is closed today, which is kind of nice. So it's all us. Tomorrow it'll be open at 9:30, so keep that in mind. There is security around, which is good, so don't steal anything, but you can certainly go kind of peruse a little bit. Smoking and vaping is strictly forbidden, so those who would kind of chuckle at the vaping part, that means that you were here last year, so that's good. In case of a fire alarm, listen to the message and the intercom, it'll tell us what to do. Emergency preparedness, of course, Mr. the Minister. And we also are going to have door prizes tomorrow, by the way. So wonderful door prizes. Would love to have you all stick around, and tomorrow we'll let you know what time so you can kind of keep coming to the room. Washrooms are just over here, and there's some out there as well. And last but not least, food and beverages are not allowed outside of the Hatch Salon and Rotunda. There you go, all of the important logistical notes. Next up, we have a second keynote, which is awesome. We appreciate very much her presence and her team's presence here this morning. So I am going to invite TerraStar Solutions VP of Business Development, Jason Tremblay, to come introduce our next speaker. Please give him a round of applause.
What bold innovations can Canada do to make sure that we're leading on the global stage? At TerraStar, we believe that vision is very much within reach. Our mission is to harness the power of the satellite and connect it to the everyday device so that no matter where you are in this vast country or around the world, you're always connected. Today, we are joined by a leader who embodies that spirit of bold innovation. As president of the Canadian Space Council since 2020, Lisa Campbell has been a driving force behind space innovation and exploration. She has a distinguished career spanning everything from regulatory law to military procurement and veterans affairs. So these are all sectors that are very, very vital to all of us. So please join me in welcoming Lisa Campbell to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde, comment ça va? Je suis contente de vous voir. It's lovely to be here with you. Thank you so much, Brian, for hosting this wonderful, wonderful event. Space Canada, you do extraordinary work. We're so grateful to be here. Je suis ravie d'être avec vous ce matin et de retour avec Spacebound aujourd'hui. Depuis Spacebound 2023, l'année a été bien remplie et passionnante. It's been a busy year. L'an dernier, on a annoncé l'affectation des astronautes de l'Agence spatiale canadienne, Joshua Kutrick et Jenny Gibbons, à des missions spatiales. Josh is training, as you know, for Canada's 4th long-duration mission aboard the International Space Station. And Jenny's assignment guarantees Canada's seat on the Artemis II moon mission as the Canadian backup. She's training right alongside the prime Artemis II crew, as some of you heard from Jeremy last night. But our astronauts aren't the only ones making the news. Most recently, our instrument on the Curiosity Mars rover, APXS, built by MDA Space, played an important role in a surprise discovery. After Curiosity drove over a rock and cracked it open, APXS detected pure sulfur crystals inside, something never seen before on Mars. And it gives us more insight about one of our closest neighbors. This is a testament to Canadian expertise, and we have such a promising future ahead of us. Another high-flying milestone recently took place in August. Who here is romantic about space, by the way? Show of hands, please. Anybody think it's poetic and inspiring? You mentioned, Minister, me too. After serving the International Space Station tirelessly for over 2 decades, Canadarm2 performed its 50th cosmic catch. I just think it's a beautiful phrase. Capturing a free-flying cargo vehicle and berthing it to the station. And it's important to note that that was something that wasn't conceived of when the arm was first launched. It points to Canadians' continuous innovation. We deploy initial operating capability and then continue to improve it over time, which shows our partners we are trusted, reliable, and we continue to innovate. And it's as a nod to the versatility of the arm and how essential it has become for the daily ISS operations. And as daily operations continue on the International Space Station, a microgravity lab and bridge over the Earth, the RadarSat Constellation mission keeps its eyes turned towards Earth, gathering incredible amounts of data every day and night above our lands and waters. Dans son dernier budget, le gouvernement du Canada a annoncé un investissement supplémentaire de 8,6 millions de dollars dans le programme d'accélération de l'exploration lunaire de l'Agence spatiale canadienne. C'est un des nombreux investissements récents pour vous soutenir, vous, les membres de notre secteur spatial de calibre mondial. Je l'ai dit hier à un tour de table avec plusieurs compagnies, on est tellement fiers de vous et ce que vous faites. C'est dans le but d'accélérer le développement de nouvelles technologies pour le retour des êtres humains sur la Lune et l'exploration de l'espace lointain. You mentioned, Minister, what we thought. I remember that. The dreams we had as kids and when this would happen. We are going to see it in our lifetime. Humans are going to live, work, and play and establish a permanent presence on the moon, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting that Canada is going to be part of that. Alors, les initiatives en cours dans le domaine de la production alimentaire et des soins de santé à distance vont aider avec ça, avec la présence permanente des humains sur la Lune. In the same budget, as the minister mentioned, the government also announced the creation of a National Space Council. It's very exciting. It's a whole-of-government initiative that will enable the collaboration required to address the cross-cutting issues we're all facing and that the earlier panel talked about. It'll span commercial, civil, and defense domains, whether they relate to space exploration, satellite capabilities, technology development, research, or security. The Canadian Space Agency is proud to co-chair the Council with the Department of National Defence. While our mission is focused on Canada's civil space program, we're seeing increasing opportunities for linkages between the civil and defense space domains. Les réunions du Conseil national de l'espace sont essentielles. Elles améliorent la cohésion et la collaboration dans l'appareil gouvernemental, ce qui est d'une grande importance vu la croissance du secteur spatial. Plus tard cet automne, nous voulons également discuter avec vous, représentants et acteurs du secteur spatial canadien, pour voir une meilleure cohésion des décisions prises dans le domaine. So much of what we do is urgent. You have solutions, and we want to be more open with you about our plans. We want to hear from you, your ideas, your suggestions, and especially your solutions. So stay tuned for an invitation to take part in the discussion. The National Space Council will be engaging with you soon. A lot of you are particularly interested in launch capability from Canada, and we're seeing some exciting progress on this front. Just imagine when we have our own independent access to space. It's going to be a game changer for us. Recently, Canada and the United States concluded substantive negotiations for a Technology Safeguards Agreement. Cet accord établira des garanties juridiques et techniques nécessaires pour permettre l'utilisation des technologies, de l'expertise et des données des États-Unis pour les lancements spatiaux au Canada. Enabling Canadian space launch capability will support the growth of our space sector in our country. We're so proud of these developments, and we know more is to come. Nous nous engageons à ouvrir les perspectives pour vous. C'est seulement en collaboration avec vous tous que nous pourrons réaliser de grandes choses pour notre pays. Notre secteur spatial est essentiel, que ce soit des petites entreprises en démarrage ou de grandes sociétés, que ce soit des étudiants ou des chercheurs au Canada, vous jouez tous un rôle essentiel. So it's my pleasure to announce today the release of the 26th edition of the State of the Canadian Space Sector Report. It reflects again this year the economic benefits and the resilience of our space sector, un secteur dynamique qui soutient de nombreux emplois de grande qualité. In a nutshell, in 2022, the space sector generated $5 billion in revenues, contributed $3 billion to Canada's GDP, and supported over 25,000 jobs, and these numbers are expected to grow over time. You'll learn more today from my colleague, the Canadian Space Agency's chief economist, Shazmin Kanji, who will expand on the details of the report. Le rapport souligne l'excellent rendement du capital investi de nos programmes de développement spatial. En moyenne, 5 ans seulement après l'atteinte de leur projet, les entreprises ont triplé leur investissement initial. The return on investment from space is extraordinary, and it means that for every dollar invested, companies are generating $3 in revenues. It's remarkable, and it's a good indicator of the incredible potential that's present in the sector. We know the sector's evolving rapidly. The new space economy holds great promise, increased access, and more competition than ever before. And we want to be fully ready for that. We want you to compete for and win new contracts for civil, commercial, and defense needs. C'est pourquoi l'Agence spatiale canadienne continue d'investir dans les entreprises canadiennes et de vous permettre de connaître une croissance plus rapide, de stimuler l'innovation, attirer et former la nouvelle génération de la main-d'œuvre. The announcement that you made this morning, Minister Sajjan, is an example of that. And we'll be proud to see the innovative solutions that you create with this funding. Another remarkable example is Reaction Dynamics, a Canadian company that I'm pleased to announce will now benefit from funding for an on-orbit demonstration of their technology, a microthruster unit. The unit is designed to guide satellites more quickly and precisely while generating lower toxicity levels than what's currently available on the market. This technology could help refine deorbiting maneuvers, something we're all preoccupied with, the full life cycle of space missions. And that could be one way to reduce space debris. Many of the components are 3D printed, making manufacturing less expensive while also reducing waste and production delays. C'est un exemple clair de nos capacités nationales, cette force que nous avons de travailler ensemble, trouver des solutions et développer des innovations qui peuvent garantir la durabilité des activités spatiales. So we're partners, we share common goals, and enabling success for Canadian industry is a priority both at home and around the world. Making sure our sector grows and succeeds also means investing in the future of our workforce. Just last week, I met with over 24 university students gathered at the Canadian Space Agency headquarters to present their work designing small satellites developed under our Cubics initiative. I was so deeply impressed and inspired. There is tremendous potential in these students. They are quite literally the future of our sector, and they're hungry for any chance to improve their skills and level up their experience. Notre initiative Cubics et le programme Stratos sont des éléments clés du portefeuille de l'Agence spatiale canadienne, parce que la nouvelle génération est essentielle à notre succès, elle aussi. So we must ensure that space is open for everyone, that we make room for all to contribute their talent and their ideas. We're facing complex problems, and we need everyone's solutions. Les valeurs de l'équité, diversité et inclusion nous rappellent de rechercher ceux et celles qui sont sous-représentés dans le secteur spatial et de s'assurer qu'ils ont la place avec nous. In recent months, the CSA published an announcement of opportunity focused on increasing equity, diversity, and inclusion in Canada's space sector, and the results of this initiative show great promise. I'm pleased to announce the funding of 3 projects: a STEM internship opportunity for post-secondary students of underrepresented groups to advance their knowledge of space health research, the development and delivery of space competitions specifically for women and Black post-secondary students, and the development and delivery of tailored space education activities for post-secondary students that are underrepresented in the space sector. This announcement of opportunity will remain open until 2026. Tell all your friends, get everybody applying on it. We're really excited to see the results of it. In the coming months, our focus is going to be delivering on our commitments. We're so grateful for the government's investments, and now we know it's on us to deliver on time, within budget. For our lunar initiatives, this means continuing to advance Canadarm3, our contribution to the Gateway, that also enables a flight around the moon, the first international mission to deep space. And thanks to this, thanks to Canada's world-leading robotics expertise, one that we've established over the last 40 years through Canadarm and Canadarm2, we're so proud to say that Canadarm3 operations will be conducted entirely from Canada. And that's a sign of the trust our partners place in us. And it's a testament to our know-how and a real leap forward in terms of capabilities. This past July, we announced the beginning of the detailed design, construction, and testing of Canadarm3. Work also, take that phone if you need to. Anybody? No? Oh, it's our friend here, okay. I don't mind. Work also continues on Canada's first lunar science rover and our lunar utility rover. Both are exciting projects that are outcomes of decades of building and refining Canadian expertise in rover technology. Closer to home, our space utilization initiatives underscore how critical space is, as you mentioned, Minister, in the midst of our changing climate. Diligent work continues on the development of WildfireSat, a collaboration with Natural Resources Canada and Environment and Climate Change Canada. And also on the HAWK mission, which Canada will contribute to NASA's Atmosphere Observing System. Le mois prochain, l'Agence spatiale canadienne aura l'honneur d'accueillir et de présider la plénière du Comité sur les satellites d'observation de la Terre et à l'occasion de son 40e anniversaire. Le CIA se réunira au siège social de l'Agence à Saint-Hubert pour poursuivre les discussions et élaborer les stratégies sur les possibilités offertes par l'observation de la Terre par satellite pour la sauvegarde de la biodiversité. Chers collègues, chers partenaires, c'est une période extraordinaire pour le Canada dans le domaine spatial. Before I step down, I just want to highlight one special moment. We are all part of a long journey in space that Canada began 60 years ago, and we're doing this for the future. The world needs this more than ever. It needs to bring out the best in humanity and be inspired by the courage of our predecessors and to do our very best for our successors. We need domains like space that bring humanity together, that show what we can accomplish, that give us the health benefits of being awed and inspired. So I would like to salute, before I step down, my predecessor as president of the Canadian Space Agency and also the first Canadian in space, Monsieur Marc Garneau. Monsieur Garneau, si vous pouvez vous lever, s'il vous plaît. Soon we will celebrate 40 years since Canada's inaugural human space flight. So let's build on recent successes and be bold, bigger, and better together. By working side by side with you, we'll seize the opportunities ahead of us and help make the Canadian space sector grow, bringing social and economic benefits across our country and around the world. Merci.